welcome back to Stringman Guitars. We're in the underground lair with a 1980s vintage Martin Dreadnought. I would tell you the model number, but I don't know it because sticker's gone from inside, and the reason it's here is he was having trouble playing in the upper register in this area, and that's because the things you run into on acoustic guitars, this hump right here sometimes happens because of it being attached to the top of the body, and then its string tension makes everything change from here to here. And when I first took a look at it, it was pretty apparent that this was flat and then it had this thing going on. So hopefully we can adjust truss rod so he can get his playability back here. It does have some fret munch, but not a whole lot. Nothing that's going to make a huge amount of difference. Nothing that's really catchy. There's a little bit, but that's not what it's here for. Basically, we're going to straighten out the neck. And the other thing was, while changing the strings the last time, something happened to the nut, and the original nut was either lost or dropped or broken or whatever. So they put in a compensated plastic nut, and it is the right thickness this way, but this left to right it's a little bit, the slot is too wide for this. It's also too short, and I think the combination of the hump and the too short saddle is probably the culprit. So I've left the strings on. I ordered a new nut from Martin. It came in the mail yesterday, and I'm going to put it in place and replace the, put the nut in, put in the strings again. You know, that way loosen the string tension off, so it shouldn't be a big deal, and see where it ends up as far as string height. And if I need to take some saddle off of the Martin saddle, then we can get that measurement and do that. So we have the strings that he's been using, at least the gauge 11 to 52s. And here is our nut from Martin. You can hear it sounds different than the little one, the plastic one. Now this one here, I'm going to try to line this up so you can see it. There's your height difference. The compensated saddle's on the front, and the Martin saddle is behind it. So, put that aside. Hopefully this will fit. This is a bone nut. A little bit of junk in there. No, we're going to have to make it a little bit shorter. Alright, let's pause that and go ahead and make it shorter. Okay, we have got our Martin saddle shortened up to fit the slot. However, it is a bit high, so I'm going to take about 2/64 off of it, and we're going to use that using some, find it here, some 220 sandpaper. It's tacky. Just put it down on the bench. You have a flat surface, and you run it across there until the line disappears. Shouldn't take much. It's going to do it for now. We're going to throw some strings in it and see what it does. As you can see, if I put the original nut, not the original nut, but the nut that we're working with on there, there is still a whole lot more. Yeah. There's still a whole lot more on there, but I don't want to take it off too much until we see what we're doing. And this is a compensated nut. And it still looks mighty high, as you can see there in the picture. So let's throw some strings in there and see what it looks like. The strings on here aren't incredibly old either. Okay, we have our guitar up to pitch for all practical purposes. Let's just see where we are as far as string height is. Whoa, that's high. Yeah, that's about 3/64 higher than I want. But let's see what relief is like. There it is. Relief at the... Now that says the truss rod needs tightened a little bit, but let's check that out. Haven't restrung yet. Just got the bridge set to where I want it to be. Measurement at the body joint is 6/64 and 4/64. I did find two culprits of string buzz, and that would be the 13th and the 14th fret, and it's just for the B and the E, so we're going to level those off a little bit and then re-crown them and polish them. think we took a total of 2 to 3 64ths off of the saddle to get it to where it needed to go, and we also had to take quite a bit off of both sides of the saddle in order to have it fit into the slot. It may not have been that much. It was only probably a 32nd of an inch, but you had to take off equal amounts on both sides in order to keep the intonation correct, at least as they made it. So I'm going to let the thing sit, get acclimated, retest the settings for the string height, and retune, and come back tomorrow and level those off, restring it, and it goes home. Alrighty, we're back in the underground layer, and we're still on the old strings. I leveled out the 4 frets that were making the treble. There's still a little bit of buzz there, but if you look down let me see if I can get this in here. If you look down the neck, you really can't get a good angle there. There we go. You look down that angle, it's very washboardy, kind of does that, and there's no fixing that unless you completely flatten the fingerboards and put a fingerboard and put new frets in. I got rid of the really bad buzzes, but if you really hear that, if you pick really hard at it, you still can make it buzz, but it plays way better than what it did before. The truss rod is almost fully tightened. It's about an eighth of a turn from being fully tightened. So I think we're as good as we're going to get. I'm going to go ahead and go into the cleaning it up and putting new strings on it stage. There is a possibility we could go with a shim underneath the bridge to bring it up to where it's not as buzzy, but I really don't want to mess with the action. It's really not that bad for a guitar that's got some age on it. I'm going to polish up the frets, clean the fingerboard, and do the best we could do. So yeah, I don't want to sacrifice playability to get rid of some of the buzz which is caused by this issue of this area of the guitar being flat, or the fingerboard being flat, and then it goes down and up where your relief is from here to here, but this part is flat. There's really no fixing that. You can bring the action up, but I don't know. So I'm going to wrap this up and see what Buddy thinks about it. And if he wants to go another direction with it, then we can go another direction. So, see you when the strings are back on. Okay, everybody. As you see, we got the strings on it, and keep the floppies on there until I'm done. I did put a small shim underneath the saddle and raised up the action just about 1/64. Let's see here. Cleaned the fingerboard real well and polished the frets. It's tuned to pitch, and we're going to let it sit overnight and come back in the morning to see where we are. And hopefully when all the wood settles down and stops moving, we'll be good to go. One last thing, just check the intonation, and wouldn't you know it, everything is intonated except for the low E is just a little bit flat. And if I look at the way they shaped this nut, they could have not rolled it in the front, they could have rolled it in the back, just like here and here, and it would be intonated, but that is Martin's, not mine. So once again, we'll see you tomorrow. Good evening and welcome back to the Underground Lair. We are here with our Martin Dreadnought of unknown origin. It sat overnight, and so we have new strings, we've leveled some frets, and new saddle, adjusted the truss rod, and basically got it right again. There is no real buzzing frets at all, so I think we've conquered this. So I'm going to give it a quick wipe down with microfiber cloth, and we'll see you again with another awesome episode of Stringman Guitars, where I drone through a video about guitar stuff. Anyhow, peace, and have yourself a great Memorial Day weekend.